So Matt, so
Yeah.
for those who don't know, who are you and what do you do, man?
I drive a 2004 Dodge Neon SRT4. I bought this car back in 2010, so it's my first car that I bought, and I'm drag racing this car since 2021, I think. Yeah.
So what made you go with the neon? Like, I mean, out of all the other platforms you could have went to, like, what made the S4 stick out more than the other cars?
Yeah. Well, back in the days, my neighbor, I think it was back in 2008, my neighbor bought one, and I was just liking the sound of the car, like the pop that makes when you go back in second or in third, and and then I just was like, this is a good car to start. It's already turbo, and I was only trying to make like maybe 280, 300 wheel horsepower, and I was like, that will be enough for me. And I thought back in the days that that's the car I want to drive.
So before making it the quickest one in Canada, did you ever think that you would make it that far with the car? Because I've seen a lot of videos and I- if correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you in the high eights now?
Uh, the currently the car is my PB right now. It's 873. It's
Wow,
only
yeah, that's
going
good,
on
man.
at 160, 166. So it's currently the second fastest neon in the world, behind Bradley Dillon one. Yeah. So by that time, it was only a street car. So I never thought I was going to only drag race the car. I decided to go that route. I think it's in 2019 when I first met all a lot of fab and tuning is done by KMP. It's a shop near me. It's a good friend of mine, Carl, that introduced me more in drag racing and that stuff. So at that time, I was not planning to go fully drag race, and I was not planning to even run a 9 second. So it was really far from that.
So what motivated you to be like, you know what? I I want to have the quickest one in Canada. Like who was your inspiration to do that?
Yeah. So if I go back to like 2018, I blew the engine, the trigger wheel on the crank split and just explode the engine. So at that time, I was like, do I want to make a fully drag car and or a more street car? And I decided to go fully built and go with aluminum rods and make a complete drag race car. Uh, like I said earlier, Bradley Dillon was one of my inspiration. Was the first to go eights with a stick shift SRT4. So I was looking a lot at what he did, and I chat a lot with him and ask him questions. So after that, Carl at KMP started his shop and told me to bring my car, and we did the complete standalone with the ECU master, and then we fully built the engine at KMP, and I bought a GP race setup for 420 head. After that, I get all the parts and the transmission, so it just come all along and it just works. Carl at TMP is really good for tuning, and he's doing drag race too, so he knows how to get the car quick, and he's always at the track with me, so it's helped a lot to improve our time.
So for those who don't know, the 428 head is out of the Eclipse, right?
Yeah, it was originally in on an Eclipse and or a Dodge Avenger also.
Yeah, so would you say the 428 head would be the better choice for building a car versus using the normal head in the Neon?
So it's just way better for drag race because you got the turbo up front, you got all the weight up front of the wheels, so you and it's way easier to do maintenance on the car with the manifold up front. Uh, there's just way more possibility also with the turbo size, so you don't have to mess with the firewall and get the turbo behind between the engine and the firewall, and you don't have to do a sidewinder and get the turbo over the transmission because it, it would be a way more time to replace the transmission if you have a sidewinder. So I think is for drag race application, 420 is the best way to go. And I think I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm like 90% sure that it can flows better with the 420 head than the regular SRT4 one.
So basically, so if you want to strictly be for drag racing and front mount swap, like the turbo wise, it would be best if you go the 428, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what's the setup on the car now, uh,
Uh,
other than the motor and all that?
Yeah, yeah. If I go from the bottom of the motor, it's I was running GRP aluminum rods. They are 6.160 inch tall, so they are not regular SRT4 rods. They are like custom length rod. And if you're using these rod, you can now run K series pistons from Honda. So it
Oh
helps you
wow,
have a
nice.
lot more options. Yeah, so not a lot of people know that, but with these rod you can run key series pistons. This is what I was running. So you can have these pistons up shell, so it's way better. The only parts that you need to have it's rods because they are custom made. So if you want to be sure that you won't miss a race during the summer, you need to have these rods in stock. And for the pistons, they are really common. So I'm running 10.5 per 1 for compression ratio, uh, and I was running a ported head from Ford Doctor, but I'm switching this winter to another guy that will make my ported head. They are not CNC ported head. They are regular. They are ported by hand.
So would you ever go K20? Because I know I have to ask because I know a lot of people are going that route now.
Yeah,
I think
but
RPT kind of opened that window up for people now because people seen that he did it, and apparently it's all-wheel drive too.
mhm. Yeah, no, I don't think I will ever go K20,
Right.
but I know that Carl at KMP really likes K series. They are pretty good motor. He's running the shop car of KMP is an IS 300 Lexus with the K series, and it's a K24, and he's developing a lot of the K series motor. But the main goal with my car is to be able to run at World Cup finals, the event in Maryland. So it's import versus domestic. This is a big, probably one of the biggest event of the year, and I'm trying to run at that event. And you can't run an import motor in a domestic. So
Yeah.
Neon is considered domestic, so I need to stick with my SRT4 engine. So it's one of the reason, and I think the engine, the SRT4 engine, is not a bad motor. I think you can make around 1,100 wheel horsepower uh, with some like it can work for a long time with that kind of power. I'm pretty sure. Uh, you need to have the great tuning and the proper fuel. Because right now I was running Ignite E90 fuel, but I'm probably switching to methanol for next year to keep the engine cooler. But I'm pretty sure these engines are able to do 1,000, 1,100 with HP, and like you can make maybe like 50 to 100 pass of drag race on these motor with that power. I know other guys are pushing the motor way further like Bradley did. He traps 180 on the quarter mile, so he's probably pushing around 1,300, 13 or maybe 1,400. So it's a lot of power, but I'm not pushing that much right now. I'm trying to keep the car reliable because I don't have a big budget, so I need
Mhm.
to work on my car and be sure that I can do all the season with maybe one or two engine maximum, so I can push it that much. And I know also that the transmission is one of the weak links of our cars. We are,
Yeah, yeah, man.
maybe
That
I
T
will
fifty
knock
is
on
not.
wood. What? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. That T850 is not really known for being strong.
Yeah. The Liberty dog box that this is what I'm running and this is what everybody's running because this is the only option that we have. Liberty Gears dog box it's it's kind of good. I didn't have any problem with my dead box. I had to replace a few slider. This is I think it's normal maintenance. I broke one teeth on my third gear last year, but it's not that a big deal. I know a lot of T series PPG dog box that they are supposed to be good and they are good, but they will break because all the parts when you can upgrade all the parts and they will eventually finish to break. So I think it's normal, but our main problem right now is the final drive. There's no option right now for final drive, and I know Bradley and also another local guy in Canada that have a lot of issue with the final drive and they keep breaking them like two, three times at each event. So they really broke that final drive a lot of time. And the intermediate shaft is the other weak link. So I will knock on wood. I never broke a final final drive ever. I think we have a pretty good strategy on the launch because if you broke the final drive, it will be uh, usually on the launch. And if you look at a couple of videos of my car, you see that my launch is pretty soft, but it's a pretty good combination because we had a lot of 1.4 to like 1.47 to 1.51 60 foot and we didn't have any issue. A couple axle, but I think it's part of the game with front wheel drive to build these.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to touch base about the PPG. Um, so are is that mostly like for like drag racing, or would you say if someone takes out their car, maybe like every Sunday, and then they happen to race, like is that for that too, or is it only specifically for drag racing?
Uh, you can run a dog box in the street, but it's it's made for drag racing, so it's
Yeah.
way better to only use them as drag race because if you won't like to run them in the street, so I think it's way better to keep them on the drag race.
So what would you think would be a solution so people could avoid breaking the final drive? Because like I'm kind of surprised that there's not a company now that actually makes a custom one, man.
Hmm.
I mean, if
Yeah,
they're breaking all the time.
yeah. I know. I was Real Tune Performance was supposed to make a custom final drive, but I didn't. I didn't see any news yet, and I thought because, like I said, the World Cup Finals is one of the big events. Uh, this year I was at World Cups. It was my third time, and I talked a couple minutes with Bradley. Bradley Dillon was also at the event, competing in Mean Street with Ismian, and we talk a little bit about that. And right now there's currently no solution. Maybe a guy like Bradley or maybe the other guy in Canada. His name is Dario. Maybe one of these guys will have a company made a custom one. Uh, but the other solution that I see is to replace the SRT4 transmission by a K series transmission. You you can keep the motor uh, you can keep the SRT4 motor and use an adapter plate to run a Q series transmission. So this might be a solution. Uh, I'm not planning to do that right now. I I I think I can push my car like to 84, 85 still on the THC. So this is part of my game plan, but I know that maybe a K series transmission will be a solution.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, the truth is, and no matter how bad people want to disagree, um, the case series would be a good route when you're talking about going fi- when fixing that issue. Which
Hmm.
I mean, I think eventually a lot of people are gonna start doing the case swaps in a lot of cars, and I mean at this point, I won't be surprised if tracks are gonna allow that in domestic cars.
Yeah. Um, uh, I'm curious. I'm curious to see though. Right now, there's not a lot of SRT4. There's coming a couple guys in the US that are currently running in the nines. Uh, and maybe if we are a couple more in the eights that and we have issue with final drive and we are a couple that request a custom one, maybe a company will come with a solution. So because I don't see another weak link in the transmission. I think it's really the final drive and because the other part that we break a lot is the internal gate shaft. Liberty gears come with a solution with a billet one. I know they are not 100% the best because I know a couple of guys that broke the billet one from Liberty, but I think it's part of the game. So if, if there's a solution for the shaft, maybe we can have also a solution for the final drive in the near future. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, there's I could probably think about maybe you, Dylan, and maybe one or two more people that have these cars running 8 seconds. And I mean, I think companies were probably saying, "Oh, well, we probably should make one because most of these guys are in the nines,
Hmm.
and you really don't have final drive issues when running nines." But then there's that 1% of people that are in the eights that need that.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I'm not 100% sure what we are doing correct to keep mine alive. So cause like I said, I never replaced one. Uh, I know that I'm not running a weight plate on the car. So yeah, there's weight by my manifold and my turbo that is up front, but I'm not running like 100 or 150 pounds up front. So maybe it's part of the reason why I don't brake, or maybe it's because I'm not living with a lot of boosts of the line. Uh, we will just try to keep it that way and just add power after the launch, like on second gear and third, and get the short track better. Because right now my PB on the 8, I think it's like 5.77 at 135 mile per hour, and I'm pretty sure with the car I can go maybe 560 or maybe a 550, 558 or something like this at 140. Uh, and I think one of the solutions to get my short track better is we are switching ECU this year. I was running an ECU Master EMI Black, and I'm switching to an EMI Pole. This is the new version of ECU Master. It's way better for traction control. You have way more possibility with the traction control. So I think I will be able to increase my short track time with that.
So now is that ECU strictly for racing or is it for every application?
Now it's pretty much for every application. It's really popular in drift. Adam Halsey is running a lot of ECU Master product. Uh, Also, there's a couple, I think, like circuit car or a rally car also running that. And the main reason is because Carl at KMT really likes ECU Master. It's not it's pretty affordable, and there's a lot of cool features for the price of these ECUs, and you can also add the PME or the ADU. So this is the screen for the dash. So I think it's a cool ECU, and Cal installed a couple of these in street cars. So it's way easier if you do a K swap to just do all the wiring with the complete standalone. So this is one of the solutions that you can use.
Were you at any events in America, like like the domestic versus import or anything like that?
So sorry, I didn't understand the start
Oh,
of this question.
so were you ever at any events in America, like
Uh,
like a show like import versus domestic and all that?
this is the currently I never drag race in the US right now. The only event that I'm doing is in Quebec at the Naperville Dragway. It's the track. It's not the closest one from me, but it's the best track that we have in Quebec and probably one of the best in Canada. And they are, I don't know if you saw the car of Naperville Dragway is currently the fastest, the quickest and fastest four cylinder in the world. It's a 582 it's not even a key series. It's an Ecotec 2 liter Sunbeam.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yep. Out of out of the Cobalt, right?
yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
The car is
I know a
long.
lot of.
It's pretty
Yeah,
cool. It's insane.
yeah, I know that there's like a big battle between the Neon guys and the Cobalt guys, but we all
Of
know
course.
who wins in the end, man. I mean, I had them both. I
Yeah.
had a Cobalt too, but well, but one thing I noticed, man, is that not many people know how to drive those cars, man. I mean, yeah, a lot of them make a lot of power, but they just don't know how to drive them, man.
Hmm.
Versus on the Neon, I mean, yeah, the Neon is an older car, but yeah, I mean, people been knowing how to drive those things for a long time.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, back when those came out in '03, they were really quick, man. For
Hmm.
only being what, like 220 horse.
Yeah. 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 It was pretty quick at that time. 200 or 230. It was a lot for front wheel drive. So yeah. And
Yeah,
like you said, the main event that I'm trying to focus and to try to run, it's the import versus domestic at Maryland. I was planning to run this year in the Main Street class, the same class that Bradley run, but the time, because you need to run a specific time to be able to register for that event. So the minimum ET was 869 in that class, and I went 873. So I was close, but I was not able to make the cut. So I was not able to register. So
Oh,
next
so
year,
base. Also, basically, every car there has to be within the 8 seconds.
yeah, at least, but there's all motor class, all motor, so no nitrous, no turbo, and it's really NA. The I think they are pretty much in the 930,
Well, that's
930 to 980. It's pretty much it. But then after that, the next class, it's called Main Street, and these are the slowest class of turbo car, and yeah, 869 was the minimum ET to register for that class.
also really no matter what you get in, you gotta have. I mean, normally like really like it.
No, we are classes class name Super Street Orlando, and we are usually around 30 cars, 30 cars. So and I think its PG is 9.1 right now. So we are a couple fat guys.
So out of all of that group that are in the top 10,
Hmm.
um, are most of them like Honda guys, or do they vary from four-wheel drive cars?
Yeah, in the top 10, it's nine under, and then
Oh wow.
there's 90, and so yeah, yeah. So it's all under. The only other car that maybe is in the top 20, like there's my SRT4, Dario SRT4, and then I think there's a Volkswagen Corrado. I think it's went 900 back in the days. So it's 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 always it's always on the they are pretty quick. And they have so they are way more under than Neon. So it's one of the reasons why they are quick.
Now, would you ever go all-wheel drive or just keep it strictly front? I mean, I understand like if you're in a class for it, but
Mhm.
if you weren't, would you ever go that route? All-wheel drive.
Not with that car. I think I want to keep it front wheel drive, and also because like I said, I'm doing the Super Street Power Added class. This is 4 events during the year, and I'm also doing the Quebec front wheel drive. This is a class only for front wheel drive, so there's 2 events for that class. Uh, I I don't know why, but I really like the feeling of a front wheel drive with all the torque steer, and I always drive, except for my truck, I always drive a front wheel drive car. I never had a rear wheel drive car in my life, so I think I will always keep it front wheel drive. If if I was about to build an all-wheel drive car, I always love the Evo. Evo 8 was one of my dream cars back in the days. I was thinking about selling my SRT4 to build an Evo, but it's way more expensive than building a Neon. So I just keep my idea to build a Neon. But this will be probably the if I had to build an all-wheel drive, I would just go with an Evo.
Yeah, yeah, man. And that's a lot of car that people are tending to go into. Like if they were to go all-wheel drive and build a car, I mean, they would go to an Evo,
Mhm.
which I understand the point of view of the Honda guys doing it, but I think if you want to have a Honda that's semi-built with that's all-wheel drive, you gotta be spending at least like 20, 30K just on that
Yeah,
before you even think about seriously building a uh, a Honda that could get in the 8 seconds.
yeah. Well, they are expensive too, but the main advantage of the Civic is the weight. Because if you're building like an EKH or an EG, they will be way less heavier than an Evo. And but I think the main problem with the Honda will be the parts like the waggle diff or the what I think they call the viscous coupler that they might I think they are pretty rare to find these days. I guess some company will come with an aftermarket parts. I don't know a lot about all-wheel drive Honda. I don't have one, and one of my friends built one, but then he switched his mind and he just built an MR2 with a Q series in it. So, but I agree with you. They are pretty expensive to build. It's not the
The all-wheel drive, like, and that's not including the
Evos. I'm not sure what the trap on the 4G62 right now, but I think a K series it's a really good motor. So and like I said, at KMP we are putting K series in a lot of car. My friend have a K series in his Fox body Mustang, so
Hmm.
we did one in the Lexus. So I think it's a good motor.
I I know there's a guy here in America that has a Fox body that has a S54 motor in it.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy's name. I never seen that car run,
Hmm.
but from what I'm hearing, that car get that car it gets down
Yeah. Yeah.
for what
I
it
talked
is.
a little bit with that guy that built. The car was built by a guy and complete by GMB Performance. And I talked a couple time with the guy because my friend that has the key series in the Fox body wants to run at World Cup next year. But like I said earlier, you can't put an import motor in a domestic, or you can put a domestic in an import. So right now, his Fox body is not legal in any class because he's running an import. So I said, just put SRT4 motor in your
Yeah,
Fox
yeah,
body.
yeah.
I'm not sure
Because
if he will do it because I think he will maybe go the easiest route with LS and the LS turbo in a Fox body. This is really common swap. So, but
yeah,
I think the 2.4 will be cool to see a four cylinder SRT4 in a Fox body. Because like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure it can make 1,000 to maybe 1,100 with HP with a pretty reliable setup. Because I'm still running a cast crank. I'm not even running a billet crank right now in my car. This is factory crank. I have like I said, aluminum rods, pistons, uh, scrap kit. So there's not a lot of parts that need to be replaced to be a pretty reliable car. I think it's a good enjoyment. I'm not sure I'm not sure if we will do the swap to go SRT4, but
I mean, I know it's not a common swap, and I think people are prejudging these cars, sort of like how they did it with the Hondas. But now, if you think about it, the tables turned. I mean, there's people with K20s making power, and now I know a handful of guys that are doing the neon motors and other cars like the MR2
yeah.
that's making 1,000 horse.
Hmm.
There's that Fox body and some other cars, but
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm just happy that I'm seeing a comeback with the neon because for a couple of years, I mean, people were calling them the the Hondas of the domestic market.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I think we will see a couple, like I said, a couple more guys that will be pushing and probably coming in the eighth with me and Bradley, right? Because right now we are only two stick shift in the eighth. The other 8 second SRT4 was an automatic. It was auto, and the name of the guy was Kevin Van Natten. I think his PD was 883, something like this. So right now, right now we are, like I said, we are three cars, but only two stick shift. So I'm pretty sure the next year in 2024 we'll see maybe one, two, or maybe even three new neon in the eight. I think if everything goes well for Dario, the one in Canada, I'm pretty sure he will be able to run eight this year. And also a guy named Gerard is pushing hard and probably will be able to go eight also next year. I'm pretty
Yeah, man. Because so my car, I never built a motor, and I don't know how I didn't blow it yet because I'm running on 25 pounds like constantly. And
sure. Okay.
I mean, yeah, and I was really contemplating about going K20, but now since we're talking about it, I think I'm just build. just build it, man, like until it blows up.
Yeah,
Cause yeah, cause right now, so I had the car for a couple years. Like it was like a passed down. Like first my brother had it, and then he gave it to me and all that. But as right now, like I'm running a eBay turbo, like it's nothing crazy.
hmm
Um, but so here in Michigan, I did put it away because it's the winter is coming in. There's really no sense for me to drive it. Which I do have a 50 trim from AGP coming, but I'm thinking of, I don't know, man. I do want to build it too, but I don't want to go too crazy because like I said, like it is one of my cars that I take to shows and all that.
hmm
But yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, back in 2013, this is when I did my first build engine. So I just put eagle rods and wide screw pistons, like basic setup, and it was my car was doing around 450 wheel HP, and it was doing great. So the only issue I had was the trigger wheel, the tone wheel in the motor that the crank sensor see the ring gear. This wheel just with the vibration just finished to break, and if it breaks, it will go underneath the pistons and will hit also the cylinder. So if the trigger wheels never explode, I think these engine can can run at 450, 500 without problem, with fork pistons and like eagle rod or something like this.
Yeah, because as of right now, my car, I never downloaded it. And I'm tuned with the Mario from MI Tuning,
Yep.
and the car is probably making like say ballpark 360, 370, and since that car is very light, um, it definitely surprises people. Um, Now, is your car gutted or is it full weight?
No, it's got
Yeah.
currently my last year with me in it, and last year I was around maybe 210 pounds. And so we always weigh the car at the track with the driver in it. So with me in it, I was around 2450. So it's pretty light. It's not the
Wow.
lightest,
Yeah.
but it's pretty light. Because in our class, in X front wheel drive, you can be lighter than 2400. So you have to be at least at 2400 pounds. This year, I'm trying to go a little bit lower, like maybe 2350 with me in it, and then I will add probably a weight plate in front, so maybe only 80 pounds or 100 pounds, because I don't want to put too much weight, because like I said earlier, maybe it's one of the reasons why guys are breaking the final drive. So I just want to add a little bit of weight, but not too much.
Yeah, and that's advantage about these light cars because you don't need a lot of power in these
Mhm.
cars, man. I think other than the Hondas, the Neons have a really good power to weight ratio, man. Like how you said, your your car is in the near a thousands or north of 1,000, and it's sub 3K, and you're running a second. Now, if you ran a second in a V8 car, like you would have to have what, like 30, 1,300 horse plus.
Yeah, because the car will be probably heavier, so yeah, I will need more power, but uh, like I said, also what is important for front wheel drive is it's a lot of the weight distribution. So you want like at least 60% of the weight up front and like 40 at the back. So this is one of the reasons why my fuel cell is in the front, the battery is in the front also. So you want the rear to be as light as possible.
And you're not on no on no nitrous, right?
No,
Just straight
no,
turbo. Nice,
no,
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
only turbo.
I I don't think it's very common for the neon guys to be on the bottle, man. I mean, I I know of a few guys that are on meth, but not on the bottle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because uh, well, I was running methanol back in the days when the car was on the street. Because in Quebec, Canada, we don't have E85 at the farm, so I was
Yeah.
running pump gas with water melt injection. So, but I never run nitrous on the car, never.
Hmm. Yeah. So what is the closest thing to ethanol in Canada? I mean, I mean,
Well, the best fuel that you can get at the pump is 94 octane gas, and it's not. I think the 94 in Canada compared to the 93 in the US. So you can't really have a good fuel for a street car at the farm. So the only
hmm,
option is to run methanol injection. So I did a pretty serious setup of injection. So I was direct port. So I had an injector in each cylinder when I was doing when my car was in the street back in the day.
yeah. I mean, I think you might have to move it here, man, to get that good
Yeah,
fuel.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I would love to move down south because the winter is coming right now. So today we were supposed to have like 4 inch of snow, and
Wow, really?
we only get a couple, maybe not even an inch. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not a winter guy, so I just want to switch to back to racing. So it's
yeah.
yeah,
I know Canada is known for their bad winter days, man.
yeah,
Like it's worse in Canada.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it might be worse in Canada than Michigan. I mean, we are neighbors and all that. Like I can see Canada from the bridge, but
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, man.
But we yeah, like you said, you are close to Ontario, but me, I'm in Quebec, so it's kind of far. Because if I did went to Michigan one day. Well, I was going to Ohio, but I was traveling, and I went to Michigan. So we are probably around 10 hour of drive between Montreal, Quebec, and Michigan. So
Yeah,
it's
because
kind of far.
I know over here in Michigan, there are a couple of guys that kind of do a lot of racing, but that's on the street, and I don't
Hmm.
think that a neon making a thousand horse could hook good can
No,
hook good on the street. Yeah, because
can do no prep.
yeah, yeah,
The only if you want to do no prep with four cylinder, I think you need either an all-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive.
yeah, yeah. Because I did a couple of the dig racing like on the street as far as test it, and I was on a 235 on Mickey Thompson, and
Hmm.
and and even if I feathered it, I mean, as soon as I would bang second, no no hooking at all, man.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I think to get a front-wheel drive working, you really need at least a slick. And what did a big difference on my 60 foot was currently I'm running 13-inch wheels because I did the conversion. So a regular SRT4 can't run 13. You need to put S6 2.0 knuckle and brake caliper so you can run a 13 slick.
Yeah, because I think the lowest you can do is a 15, right?
Yeah, it's
Because
a 15 with the SRT4 caliper and knuckle. The lowest you can go it's 15. Yeah.
yeah, because I have a 'cause on the front, um, I have 15s on mine, and I'm on a 255.
Hmm.
I mean, I was getting ready for that 50 trim because from what I'm hearing, that a 50 trim is that's gonna need a good tire.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, because I'm a 93 now, and people were saying a 93 if you're pushing around 18 pounds and making like 380. So I can only imagine going back to ethanol what I'm gonna be running
Yeah.
power wise. I would say within the 500s, no problem. So I mean, I'll say it's better to be ready than later.
Hmm.
That's why, which I do want to focus on my suspension too. Like I do want to make it more stiff because I know the nails are not known for their launches.
Yeah. Yeah. I have all the time that I had my car since 2011. This is the first time I bought the BC coilover, and this is what I'm still running right now on my car. I have stiffer spring at the back and a little bit stiffer front spring, but it's uh, it's uh, it's a good suspension. It's a good coilover, the BC one.
So how many years were you in the racing scene for? Like,
Well,
were you racing before the neon or after?
Well, in 2010, when I first bought my Neon, I was only 18 years old, so this was my first real car. I was not in racing, but my father is a car mechanic. So, and the first time I remember I went to a drag race with him about in 2002 Sentra Stexi. The Sentra Stexi, I think they were like 175 or 180
Hmm.
horsepower, and it was a four-cylinder front-wheel drive car. And we were going to Sanai. It's a track close to me, and this is the first time that I ever went to drag. And after that, when I bought my SRT4, I went to that track too, and this is when I start the drag racing. But between 2010 to maybe 2015, the car was more like a show car. It was more a stance car with camber wheel and very little
Hmm.
suspension, stretch tires. So it was not a car oriented for power. But I still put BorgWarner S256 back in 2013 with a built motor. So I was trying to do both. I was trying to have a low car, but also drag race the car. So it was not a good idea. I broke a lot of axle because the axle was with a weird angle. So I was always breaking axle. And then I think it's in 2015 that I put the car back to a normal suspension height. So I start more drag racing the car. At that time, my PB I think was with the S256 turbo. I went 11.1 at
Oh wow.
126, something like that. Was not bad for. I was still on pump gas, so like I said, we don't have ethanol here, so I was on pump with net injection. So 11.1 was my best, and after that, I start building the car for X front wheel drive. I think it's in 2018, and I took 2 years to build the motor and like yeah. In 2018, I start. I get a couple of parts, and then in 2020, I think I bought my Liberty transmission, and after that, we start pushing the car. So at my first year, I think I got the car out only in August, and the end of the season in Canada here it's around October. So I did went 993 at my first year. So I was trying the main goal with the car at that time was to run a nine. So at my first season we run a 993 at 155, I think.
So when you ran the 11.1,
Yeah,
what so in what power range were you in? Like in the mid fours
yeah.
to high fours?
I was I think on the Mustang dyno we did 463, something like this.
Yeah. So doesn't the Mustang dyno add like 13% or 10% power?
Uh, it depends on what dyno you compare, but if I compare, because I went to two different dynos with my car. The first dyno was a dyno com back in the day, and the other one was a Mustang dyno, and the Mustang dyno was reading a little bit lower than the dyno com. So dyno com was adding like 30 wheel horsepower, and the Mustang dyno was reading a little bit lower.
Yeah. So like I said in a prior, man, I mean, you don't need a lot of power to make these cars fast, man. I mean,
Yeah, and
y- because
my car
yeah.
was not gated at all. It was full weight. At that time, the car was probably with me in it around 2000, I think.
Now, did you ever roll like did you ever race from a roll like on the street before you ran an 8 second pass?
Uh, well, so the car never the car when I was running the car on the street, the most power I did was 463. I never put
Wow.
more power on the street than that. And after that, I just switched to the full race version. So because I, at the beginning I was trying to uh, do like an X-front wheel drive car and maybe run it by itself to the track, but it's not possible here in Canada. So you
Yeah.
you can't you can't have an exhaust that go up of the hood, so you will get in trouble with
Hmm.
the cops. So it was a bad idea, and it was just limiting the car because if you want to race a car and be competitive, you need to go all out and you need to get the car to the maximum weight that you can. So you want to remove all you can, and uh, you want to be sure that everything is oriented for the track.
So when you were making 460, did you have anyone that like pulled up beside you and wanted to race?
Yeah, I think one of my best skill was an M3, BMW M3
Oh
that
wow,
that I raced
nice.
on the highway. So it was probably from 60 roll, maybe 65 to to maybe like I'm not sure, but maybe 120, 140 at
Hey,
that time. Yeah.
he wasn't ready for that race.
No, 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 not at all. And my girlfriend was with me, and, and she was like, "Oh my God, you killed that
Yeah,
BMW!" So
yeah, yeah.
that was a fun ride. And when I blew my engine back in 2016, 2017, and after we switched to the full race, uh, I was on the street doing a roll race with my friend Cal at KMP. At that time, he was running a Z06 Corvette. So
Oh
we were
wow.
about to do a roll, and I felt the car like a weird noise. So I just let off, and then I tried to pull back to him, and the trigger will just explode, and
Wow.
it cut the crank sensor, so I lost all the signal, and the car just stalled. So at that moment, I was like, "Oh my God, the engine is done."
Yeah,
And
and then that's when you decide, you know what? It doesn't make sense for me to keep the the same power now, so I might as well
yeah,
build that car.
hmm yeah.
and now you're in the 8 seconds now, the mid 8 seconds now.
Yeah, and I think well we find some points that work with the car, some others that doesn't work, and I think we have a good recipe to run bottom height to a mid height with a pretty reliable car. This is the whole goal for the 2024 season. It's to be able to run consistent in the maybe 8.5, 8.6, and maybe try push it a little bit more and run maybe an 8.4. I'm not sure if I will go in the 8.3 because, like I said, I don't want to hurt too much the engine or the transmission because I'm trying to run all year long. And if I'm able to register for World Cup, and World Cup is in November, so I just want to be sure that I can uh, focus on the car all year long, work on the short track. 'Cause if you work on the short track, you don't need to make uh, 180 mile per hour to run an 8.4. So like I did only 166 mile per hour, and the car went 873. So I think it's possible to run like 8.4 or 8.5 at 172, 175 mile per hour, and keep the engine together. This is the old goal for 2024.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's really good goal to set, man. I mean, it's possible, but like how you said, until a company makes a makes a pretty strong final drive, there's only so much that you could do, man.
Hmm. Yeah. Like I said, I I'm not sure if I'm just lucky that I never broke one, or we are doing the correct things to keep it in good condition. But I will probably buy a couple spare one for the next season. But I think right now we are just doing good and not exploding. But I hope we won't break one this year. But it's part of the game. So you need to be ready to break stuff and replace them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it's been an hour, bro. Like, I mean, I really appreciate the talk we had. I mean, we covered
Mhm.
a lot of subjects about the car, and I wanted to set this up for a while now, just with work and all that, and the other shifts is kind of hard to set up that. But listen, man, I really do appreciate the interview, man. I mean, it was a good one. Like I said, we covered a lot of things, man, and we got to know you too a little bit, so that's a plus.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a comment. I think it's in the chat. Somebody want to know a little bit more about the Lexus. I'm not sure if he was talking about the key series Lexus, but
Let me
if
see.
this guy want to know more,
Oh
uh,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That's my brother, actually.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So I don't know about the Lexus. I mean,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, we can talk about it now. Yeah, sure.
Oh, I can only say a couple things about it. So right now, I think we broke the world record for the KMP for the fastest and quickest Lexus IS 300 with the car. This is the car is owned by Cal, the owner of KMP, and he's running a K24 engine with he's still running also a Pulsar turbo, so it's not
Wow.
it's not a big company turbo. It's a Pulsar 7782. It's a big turbo. Car is running on methanol, and at World Cup we did 758. I think was the best. So 758 at 185. It was a pretty cool moment. It was the first seven that the car went, and it just went straight from 8.0 to a 758. So it was crazy. The car is on the power glide transmission with been so good. So this is why I want to take time to talk about this car because Scout is doing a lot of good stuff to my car, and he's the reason, like I said, why we are keep pushing and keep going lower every time that the car is out.
Yeah, and I mean, you would think because a lot of the those guys have a 2J in it. I mean, you
Yeah,
wouldn't expect that from a K20.
yeah. This is the one of the reason why he's running a key series because Cal is also in the same class than me in Canada. It's in the super speed power added class. So you have limitation about what engine you're running. So if you're running a six cylinder like a 2J, you will need to have more weight, like maybe 3,500 pounds. But since he's running a K series or a four cylinder, he can weight way less. And like like he said, you can make maybe like 2000 or maybe 1500 to 2000 horsepower on a 2J, but you can still make like 1200 to 1500 on a K series. So if you compare the weight ratio, it's maybe better to push the K series to the limit so you can have a better time. So
Yeah,
it's
and
a pretty
plus, I
cool car.
mean, yeah, and plus, I mean, if you're building a 2J, you gotta have a big budget
Yeah,
because
yeah,
building one is not cheap at all, man. I mean,
yeah, yeah. The his K series is not cheap, but it's you have way less parts. You have only four pistons, four rods, and you just put sleeve in it, and it can perform a lot.
yeah, man. So was that the only comment? I think it
Yeah,
was, right?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, man. Well, we're just gonna have to have a part two, man, because I mean,
yeah,
there's so much that we could talk about,
yeah.
like when it comes to these cars. But yeah, like I said, man, I appreciate the time, man. I mean, we covered a lot of things, and I learned a lot of things too. So that's why I'm keeping my motor.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, I appreciate the invite, and
Yeah, yeah, man, sure.
it was pretty cool to explain what I did with my car and show my story with the guy.
Yeah, man, and hopefully we could see that car in person, man. I mean, it's either I go there or you do come here one time.
Yeah, maybe if you come to World Cup, maybe next year you will see a blue neon down the strip. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never been to Canada, so I have I have a reason to go now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
All right. So last thing. So where can people find you on social media?
Yeah. Well, on Instagram at Matt Bosch, you will find me. And if you want also on I have a TikTok page, but I don't put a lot of stuff on it. But
Yeah.
it's Matt Bosch also, or you can also send me a request on Facebook at Matthew Boschman. So I
Yeah.
accept pretty much everybody.
I'm also put a link in the comment section too.
Cool,
Well, all right, man. Like I said, I appreciate it,
no problem.
and then yeah, but we're just gonna talk again, man. Because like I said, there's a lot to talk about, and the hour won't cut it.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate and stay safe, man.
Yep. All right.
All right, bye.
Yep.